Zacks Rank Buys, stocks with a short-term buy or strong buy recommendation. Now, here are more Zacks Rank Buys.
This is the last time this year that I'll be saying, let's check on some value stock pick ideas with Tracey Ryniec, our value stock analyst at Zacks.com. Hard to believe that this year is quickly running out of time. KMG Chemicals is the first stock pick that you want to talk about. KMGB, the ticker symbol. Now, you wrote about this one on the 23rd of December. They're in the chemicals business. Both of these that you brought in today are in the chemicals business. Varying sorts.
And the chemical area is kind of interesting right now. They have seen a real big turnaround this year. And, you know, they're the building blocks of everything that goes on in the economy. So this is a good sign going forward that these companies are, you know, seeing earnings increase, revenues are starting to go up. You know, some of their areas are even seeing pre-recession areas, which is KMG Chemicals. They're kind of interesting because they are a real specialty chemical manufacturer. They have 3 different segments. One is electronics, where they create a chemical that is used to manufacture semiconductors, which have been really hot in the last couple months as electronics are, you know, picking up steam here. And then they also have like an animal health segment and a wood preservation segment, which is also very interesting. And you wouldn't think about these things, but they actually make a compound, and they're the only manufacturer in North America to make this compound called penta that is used on utility poles and like railroad ties that preserves the wood.
The surface.
And you know, we drive by these things every day, and you don't even think like, how can that pole be up there for 25 years or however long? And it's because of these kind of chemicals. So you know, this company kind of has a niche area. And they are seeing a big turnaround in their electronics segment. And that, they did say just this last quarter, which they reported on December 7th, is reaching pre-recessionary levels, which is a real positive thing going forward.
That is interesting.
Yeah, they're still seeing a little struggle on their animal health. And wood preservation was a little bit of increase this last quarter, but the penta is actually down because the utilities are cutting back. They're not buying as much as they otherwise would have. But that should probably be turning around as we go forward here too. So things look kind of you know, interesting for them. They beat big on the this was their fiscal first quarter that they just reported, and there's only one analyst actually covering them. But this analyst is, you know, optimistic given the.
But he's bullish.
He is given the recent big beat, and he's been raising the rest of fiscal 2010, and then a little bit sees a boost in fiscal 2011.
So this is a relatively small company with only one analyst covering?
Yeah, relatively speaking, because they're pretty specialized. So yeah, they're in this kind of niche market. The stock has actually bottomed out last November 2008 and has really moved off that low. So you know, it's seen this big gain, but it's not otherwise altogether expensive. It's trading at about 11 times forward here. So, and you get a little bit of dividend with this company too. It's like 0.6% yield.
Not bad.
No, so you get a little benefit of being in there. But yeah, the chemical area, some interesting things going on.
Well, here's another more recognizable name in the chemical space, Lubrizol Corporation, LZ the ticker symbol, and you know them mostly for diesel fuel and motor oils.
Right, exactly. Yes, they do the additives into those segments, and also for like engine you know, lubricants and things like that. They're much bigger. They also have had a really interesting play. They're only trading at about 9.8 times forward earnings, so they're pretty cheap here. They, on their estimates, is kind of misleading. They've met estimates the last 3 quarters, but that's because they've been pre-announcing about 2 to 3 weeks ahead of their scheduled earnings date, and they've been pre-announcing way higher than what the analysts have actually been at. So it's given the analysts some time to revise their earnings up to where the number is. So when
tricky little devils.
I know. So when you look at their estimate history, you think, oh, they've only met the last 3 quarters, but in fact they've been beating by big numbers. And they're scheduled, I think, to report at the end of January again coming up. So people, you know, investors should be looking to see if they're going to pre-announce in the next couple of weeks here. Because that's what they have been doing. It's not that they must do it, but they have been doing that. The estimates have continue to go up because the analysts have been kind of getting burned the last couple quarters. You know, 2009 still looks really good. They're supposed to make over $7 per share, and that's up from like $6.33 only 90 days ago. So, you know, we'll see, you know, what they say here going forward. 2010 looks a little bit weaker right now from the analyst point of view, but you know that can all change depending on what the company says. As far as the chart, they hit their low actually in March. And they tripled off of that. They've been kind of trading sideways here for a little bit, as we're kind of waiting to see if they do this pre-announcement thing again. But things look pretty good here. The revenues were down slightly in this last quarter, but the company is saying that things are turning around, as I said, because the chemical sector is kind of interesting right now because they are the building blocks of everything else that's going on, at least on the manufacturing side.
All right, we'll see if that holds up going forward. Do you own either of these two?
I do not.
Check out more Zacks Rank Buy stock pick ideas on our homepage at Zacks.com. We put 4 new ones up there for you each day, one in each of the investing categories that we write about on Zacks.com. With Tracey Ryniec, I'm Terry Ruffalo.